This activity relates to our sense of smell. And you've probably noticed that smells kind of disappear fairly quickly. That's because our bodies adapt to input. If it didn't, it would drive you nuts, basically. So when I put my clothes on in the morning, I'm aware that the clothes are touching me, but after a few minutes, I don't pay any attention anymore. That's called adaptation, and our senses adapt fairly readily once we get into a new environment or a new state of being. One of the things that adapts particularly well is our sense of smell. It doesn't take that long for us to stop noticing a smell. You may have gone into a room at some point and immediately thought, just who farted? But, within a moment or two, you really don't notice the smell anymore. That's particularly relevant for the people who are on the Leestown campus, downwind from the municipal sewage treatment plant. And as a result, sometimes you drive on that campus and it really stinks. But by the time you get out of class or get out of your car, go to class, everything seems to be okay. So what we're going to do, you're going to take some sort of liquid, a perfume, something that's smelly, basically, and you're going to test this. You're going to put it up to your nose, draw in, and you're going to keep doing that. Typically our sense of smell adapts after about a minute, but you're going to count the breaths that you draw in before you notice that the smell's diminished. It's going to initially be fairly strong, but after 8-10 breaths, it's going to kind of disappear. Or, if not disappear, at least diminish significantly. Now, this is hard to do if you have a cold. Obviously, you're not going to smell things nearly as well. It's also, for some people, they adapt very quickly. What I'd like you to do is, if you've got 2 bottles of different stuff, then sniff the first one, count the number of breaths, and then try it again with a second one. Typically, what we find is that the second smell fades even faster. That kind of relates to we've got a certain number of receptors, they get occupied, and we just can't smell stuff as well anymore. You may have noticed when you go into like a perfume counter, you can really make out very well the smell of the first 1 or 2. But after a bit, you just don't notice it anymore. It's one of the reasons why at perfume counters they may have a can of coffee grounds that you sniff just to kind of clear the palate. Anyway, going to do this. You're going to record the data of how many breaths it takes you on the data sheet. What I forgot to mention earlier is if you don't have bottles of perfume or something like that, you can also use unlit incense sticks or possibly cans or bottles of spices as something to play with.